Magnets may just be the MVP of your collection.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and we are talking magnets again today. I personally love magnets because they help you future-proof your miniatures, but you can also use them to store and transport your miniatures around, as I've showed you in the past. Something else I've showed you in the past is the cool little squad marks from squadmarks.com. Great branding. These things are great because, well, you can use them to attach your miniatures to stands, but then also they're already magnetized, so you can use them in all the other cases and things that I've showed you in the past. And actually, that's where I got some of the original ideas to show you some of the stuff I've showed you over the past 2 years. Well, Mason over at Squad Marks came up with a new design that it's kind of like interchangeable for 25 millimeter bases on up to 28, because you know how they kind of change sizes, and the Star Wars minis are kind of not quite at 25, and also, you know, some of the other GW stuff's kind of going up in size. But maybe best of all is that they actually include a magnet in the squad mark itself. So not only will you be able to tell your squads apart from each other, but you'll also be able to magnetize them for using, you know, some little movement trays and such as well, or magnetizing them, you know, to your figure cases and things that I've showed you in the past. Annie is very, very excited about it, and she wants to check them out. So we're jumping over to squadmarks.com, but I did want to mention something because you might have noticed that I have glasses on, and I waited to get into the smaller frame before I mentioned why. Well, I am allergic to something. When you get older, you get allergic to stuff. I don't know quite what it is yet, but my eyes are getting really red and puffy, and it just doesn't seem like anything I can do to help it as of late. So I'm using these glasses that I normally wear when I'm working on the computer to kind of mask that. So don't go back and rewind it and look at my puffy eyes. Let's just talk about some squad marks, shall we? So squadmarks.com is your place to scoop up all of these cool accessories, movement trays, magnet bases, magnet stickers. Now he's even got steel/tin stickers, I guess, so something Pharisee. There are some discounts going on right now over on his site. I'm not sure if that's going to be happening by the time this video makes it out, but anyways, it's just something to kind of mention there. Now we're going to hit the shop all button right here because, let me make sure you can see my mouth, because there's so much to see in here now. I showed you this stuff after LVO last year. A lot's changed. He's added a bunch of products in here, a bunch of game system type stuff. So here you can kind of see the new squad mark that we were talking about just a second ago. And this design is really cool. It's a little bit different from the original squad marks, which they kickstarted a while back. And then he's got some new movement squad trays, 25, 32, 40. And you can see here they're a clear kind of acrylic. But he also has MDF versions as well. So if you want to actually, you know, do all the basing and stuff to match your miniatures, you can do that. And it would look pretty neat. So you kind of have two different options right there. And then of course they finished the squad link, so you can have some bigger size bases right there. If you do need magnets that are even bigger, are magnet strips, flexible magnet type deal. He doesn't offer them, but you can get flexible magnetics. They are in the product description. You can get a big kind of, I think it's like 10 sheets or so of them if you need to cut them to anything bigger than 60 millimeters. But I would not advise buying these and cutting them down for 20 for the sizes that they sell on their site, just because it's really hard to cut a perfect circle if you haven't tried. Like, it really is. So I would much rather pay the 20 cents or whatever it is that we're about to find out now to get the pre-cut magnet sizes, and just not, all I gotta do is peel and stick and peel and stick. And even that itself is kind of a big job when you're talking like 100 miniatures or so. Now, like I said, they've expanded the line. They got stuff for specifically for, you know, tabletop war games like Warhammer, stuff for Star Wars Legion, Crisis Protocol, Warhammer Hordes, Infinity, and now they've got the sheet metal links with adhesive. So these are 20 cents each. The adhesive magnets that are the traditional sizes here, and you can select them and kind of go through. Oh, they actually got them cut now. That is awesome. Because let me tell you what, I hate cutting magnets. Oh, that's cool. I got to check that out. So let's see. I want so this is what, night size? Let's add that to the cart. See how much it is. $3? Okay, sold. So much easier. Now, I will mention that you might want to just slightly lip around the edge of any of these magnets that come pre-cut, because sometimes your resin base or your base might be, if it's bigger, that's great, but if it's the same size or smaller and your magnet kind of sticks out a little bit, if you cut it, and you don't even have to be precise at this point, just take a little bit off the edge there, then that way you don't stick it on and then cut it and then mess up your paint job on your base. If you cut it beforehand, you save that extra step, which to me is definitely worth a little bit of extra time right there. But all the resin magnets, or all the resin bases, if you're buying these stick-on magnets for, they all vary in actual toleranceable size. It's not going to mess you up in game, but it's going to mess you up if you're buying a product to specifically fit it. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, this is kind of the sticker side of things. And then now they have these new steel offerings too, which I need to go over here because I can't see it in my browser. Oh, here they are. The sheet metals as well are right here. Now these are for the movement trays, and you can get them up to 40 millimeter. And then we're going to talk about these squad trays too. So I think for 20 cents, now these are actually going to come with that. So if you have something existing and you're like, man, I don't really want to mess with tin and cut tin, you can get those discs for 20 cents each in the size up to 40 mils that you need, or 40 millimeters. But if you want to get the whole ensemble, the whole assembly right here, you can get it either in clear acrylic, and MDF of course is going to be, I thought MDF was cheaper. I think on some of the bigger sizes, MDF is cheaper. And then style, oh, then they can space out or be a little bit, what do they call this? String, I guess. So not that we know exactly what's going on with coherency in 9th edition, but sometimes it's nicer to have this so you can't slide through to do assaults and combats, but bubble wrap might not be as big of a thing in 40K if you're buying these for 40K. It's just really interesting to see that, oh, and they got a picture of, there it is. There's the actual two of them put together. So if you buy the two little clouds, you can kind of flip-flop them and make them assembly, or kind of space them out depending on what you want to do. And you can even magnetize the cloud squad tray, or even the string. It doesn't have to be precise, but you can get, again, buy the flexible magnets separate, cut them out, stick them to your squad tray, boom, glue that whole thing, or stick that whole thing to any of those clear plastic cases that you might have purchased. So there's a lot of different assemblies and different things you can make depending on your particular storage needs. Or if you're doing foam, you could just stick your models to these squad trays, put these squad trays into like a cutout pull and pluck like square, and then boom, you just pull them out and you put them on the table, put them back in, you're good to go. It just depends on kind of what your particular needs are, because there's so many different ways to transport your armies. It's kind of ridiculous. So let's take a look at the new squad trays. We got some MDF ones, we got some clear acrylic ones, and also the brand new configuration of Squad Mark, which I really like from an engineering standpoint. So if you've never seen Squad Marks before, they're going to come in these really cool little packages here that are kind of like heat sealed, and then you're the very first one to open it. You can kind of tear it here, and it's a cool little storage, you know, if you have bases or anything that you can use later on, you know, and you just kind of retain the packaging and such. I have a bunch of these that I refill with bases since I've discovered Squad Marks. So, you know, it's cool because you're not throwing stuff away and you're kind of keeping the package, which I think is pretty neat. Now, here is a set of the new Squad Marks, the 25 by 28s, which I'm going to show you right here in a second. And then we've got a package of the new squad trays. This is in that string configuration, and the little steel inserts to stick onto it with that really, really cool 3M sticky. This is it's actually pretty strong because I stuck some onto one and I tried to pull it off and I was like, nope, not happening for sure. And then there's the MDF version, which comes, this is a, I guess this is the 50 mil. This comes a little bit bigger, and then here's the cloud for a 25 as well, but I got some to show you here in a second too, as soon as I make a witty comment and then zoom in the camera. So like I was saying, this is a pretty cool little design here. So they're just the traditional kind of plasticky type material here, but they've got this spring kind of configuration. So they've got these pre-cut notches, and I actually tried to kind of break it really, really hard. And I mean, I could have kept going, but you won't accidentally break this, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then the magnet's already pre-glued in for that, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, for the price, I don't feel like it's too bad at all. So this is what's neat about it is it's going to accommodate those 25 millimeter bases. Remember, everybody's 25 mil is a little bit different. Like this is, what is this? This is a MAS Studios base right here from my Poxwalker Duder. And look at that. It's all good to go, super fresh. And then I've got another base right here. I actually think this is, I want to say this is Secret Weapon Minis. So that just pops in there. But I know for a fact that they're slightly out of tolerance with each other. So it works really good here because of the little springy resistance. And then it kind of separates out from the top right there, which is really neat. And then I've even got the very first 3D printed miniature I ever did. It's a little pirate duder from Titan Forge. And this guy is actually bigger. I think he's 27 or 28, and he clips in there too. Look, nice and flush, a little bit of a gap right there, but you kind of get what's happening, right? So then you can paint your little mark, whatever you want to put here, a check mark, a green patch, a red patch, maybe a green and a red patch. I don't know, it just kind of depends on whatever you're feeling at the time. And then that way you'll be able to keep your squads apart on the tabletop. Of course, you probably want to put it something like this so your opponent can see, hey, those are green, and then you can see, hey, those are green. Now you can prime these things different color depending on what you want to do, just like I've showed you in the past. Didn't really spend a lot of time on that today, just because I figured it's more about these products here. But you can primer these. You can, once you primer them, you can paint over them as well. So super easy right there as far as that goes. Now, when it comes to the squad marks themselves, like I said, or the squad trays, there's a couple of different options which I thought was pretty cool of them. So first off, they've got the line, I think they call it the string, and then you're gonna kind of peel these little steel plates off and stick them on there. They're gonna come on this 3M where is it, this 3M little adhesive right here. And let me tell you what, this stuff is very hard, if impossible, to get off once it's on. Not just because I barely have any nails, but because I don't want to break my nails because the resistance is so strong right there. So there's this version right here, which is really cool because, if you have this on a mat, like some sort of mouse pad mat or something like that, or the new GW, Kill Team surfaces that they want you to play 40K on, you'll be able to see through and see, it's an immersive kind of experience. Me personally, I don't like unpainted features on my miniatures. That's just me being a miniature snob, but then, that's just my preference. So maybe I would go with something like this, like an MDF type deal, where you can also, glue or peel and stick these magnets onto right here. But then you can probably put grit, a bunch of glue and things like that. I've done that in the past for these type of things, and I would much rather, it seems to stick and adhere much better to the MDF than the acrylic stuff, because the problem with acrylic is once you start flexing it and bending it, you crack all that paint and all that glue and everything on there, and then you're like, ah, crap. So I did want to show you how these look together. So I'm going to show you exactly how fast it is, if you're just starting out, to put some miniatures, say a 5-man squad, while I'm talking to you here, onto these squad marks, and then actually put them onto. So that's about how easy it is to get them together once you have them painted. And now we will add these stickers. Oh, actually, I need to peel that right there. So these have a protective film on them, which I think is pretty cool as well. I had one already that I had peeled. Maybe not. No, it's okay. So you're gonna want to peel the protective film. I think it's on the top right here, and we'll do that real quick and come back. So I found exactly what I was looking for as soon as I hit stop recording. So here was the acrylic tray that I was looking for, with the plastic pulled off, so everything's nice and neat. There's no scratches or anything in it, and I stuck on all these little steel round circles, and they are super hard to get off. So I love that 3M adhesive right there. Now let's take our little squad duties here, and something I forgot to mention too about these particular squad marks. These magnets are actually pushed in. Now they do have a tight tolerance, and they have the little notch right there, so you can use a toothpick to pull them out. But I would definitely recommend perhaps putting a dollop of glue in there, just to make sure that you're going to get the most secure hold. I'm not saying you won't get a secure hold, but I personally would feel better about glue. However, as you're about to see, well, yeah, they do pop off. So I think glue is probably the better answer on those tolerance. But, depending on where you're at, If it's more humid, if it's dry, it might not matter. But then if you travel with them, it will matter. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you might have to do a little bit extra when it comes to these particular ones right here, you know, not just gluing on the pads and stuff. So I'm gonna actually turn these upside down, and even with the clip kind of tolerance, they're not going anywhere or anything like that. And remember what I was saying about you could use flexible magnets and, you know, even magnetize this to fit into your case. I do like this string kind of style because it, you know, spaces out your miniatures right there. And, you know, when it comes to 40K, you can't exactly assault through there. So these guys actually, you know, look pretty fresh, kind of standing apart like that. And then you don't have to, you know, move as many guys when you're going across the battlefield and such. But it's just something to consider that, you know, not gluing those down, it could come into play at a later date. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't use the little sticky, the round sticky ones that they sell. Now, these are not 3M adhesive, but I haven't had any fail on me quite yet, and they do seem to be a little bit removable as well. So once we get a couple of test models here, so we got our Death Corpsman, and then I actually got put another sticker on this little pirate right here. And kind of what I was saying too, and this is more talking to that. So you see how this is a 25mm sticker, right? But it kind of sticks out, so I would want to cut that down a little bit before I stuck it onto this guy. But this is a 25mm sticker on a 27mm base, approximately, so it looks just fine. And that's kind of what you want, so you don't have to, you know, cut it around the lip and then you're like, oh crap, I just scratched up my paint. So there's those right there, and then you can see here that they're not going to fall off either. So, you know, these flexible magnets that they sell already pre-punched are great. I even use the same flexible magnets for things like Night Titans and larger miniatures, because I know exactly where he got these from, because he told me, because I wanted bigger ones. But now with him selling them, I would buy them from Squad Marks just because they're already pre-cut and I don't have to worry about it. So that's just something to consider. And the same thing is for, you know, the larger sizes like the 32 mils and things too. This is already a pre-magnetized base that I use for all my work in progress stuff to put them into the larger kind of containers that I showed you in the past, stuff like this right here where they're all in there ready to roll. And he's already good to go. So as soon as I decide I'm done with him, I can either use the same base or apply a freshly painted resin base with a sticker on it, and then I can shuffle them around the battlefield as well too. So lots and lots of cool possibilities with these new squad trays, as well as the new Squad Marks that will incorporate anything from 25mm to 28mm in diameter. So in conclusion, overall, I think Squad Marks once again is a great solution to help you not only save time with your miniatures on the tabletop, but also save time getting your miniatures to the tabletop as well, from, you know, all these options with magnetized bases to the steel movement trays and such. There's so many different configurations based on what you might carry your miniatures around with, that I'm sure there is something over there that will not only save you time, but not cost an arm and a leg either. So make sure you check out squadmarks.com. They got a ton of good stuff over there. I've been using them since I found out about them at LVO last year, and I think you know, they could do a lot for you and your hobby needs as well. If you have any specific questions, you know, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer you as best as I can, you know, time permitting. But, you know, for the most part, I think I've pretty much said everything straightforward. But, you know, as always, feel free to ask questions about any particular product that we've reviewed here, or something that you think we should take a look at in the near future. So that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.